Hi everyone, my name's Tim Green. I'm reporting for Finextra at Mobile World Congress. I'm here with Jorn Lambert, who's EVP of Digital Channels and Regions at Mastercard. Jorn, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for coming and visiting our booth.
So today you've launched a new product which is integrating Facebook Messenger into QR code for Masterpass. Tell us a little bit about the launch.
One of the big promises of digital is not just to pay with your phone or do cool things with it, but actually for us is reaching consumers and merchants who we previously, with the existing technology, could not reach. For a merchant to accept cards, for example, they need to invest in a terminal, and there's a whole set of merchants out there in emerging markets that can't really afford that. And in those markets, many consumers don't have a card. And so through digital, we will leapfrog these kind of legacy technologies and reach potentially 2 billion consumers and merchants that are currently out of reach. Now, the critical thing with that is delivering to them a cheap way of accepting. In this case, it's a QR code that identifies the merchants and allows the merchant to be paid. And the consumer with an existing mobile phone can scan the code. The challenge though with those things is how do you distribute that? How do you reach the small merchants in sometimes remote villages without actually feet on the ground to reach them? And so partnering with somebody like Facebook Messenger, who has very wide networks, including in emerging markets, allows us to reach those consumers. And partnering with Facebook and banks, in this case in Nigeria with Zenith Bank and with EcoBank, allows us to actually underwrite these merchants and offer electronic payments to merchants who could otherwise never get that.
So obviously with a launch like that, it's important that it's easy to set up. Could you walk us through the process that merchants has to go through in order to set up a new account?
So when we are detecting, or when with Facebook Messenger, when we are detecting through the chat that a merchant conducts on Messenger, that a merchant is actually a merchant who wants to sell things, a merchant is invited to set up a QR account. Right? Gets a message says, do you want to set up a QR account? If the merchant says yes, we are asking a few questions to the merchants that we deliver to a bank, and the bank reviews, oh, that is a merchant who indeed has a business and we can set him up with a bank account. Most of these merchants never had a bank account in their lives, and so for the first time they are included in the financial system. Once that it happens, they receive a QR code that they can either display on the screen and show to any consumer that comes to them, or they actually print it out and stick it on their counter. A consumer coming to that shop can now, with their banking app, scan the QR code and make a payment. The merchant would then immediately receive a message through Messenger that payment was received, and the customer can leave with the goods that he purchased.
Are there any other benefits to merchants, such as analytics or maybe using the product for marketing?
Also, the critical, I would say the first and most important benefit that we see is that by including the merchant in the financial system, we give them a means to record keep what happened in his shop, but also we give him a means to start building a credit history that ultimately could lead to that merchant's lend in order to increase the business or hire employees. And that piece is extremely powerful. Right? Economies that are stuck in a cash system have a very hard time growing because credit is not available to those. So through that mechanism, we'll enable them indeed to include in the financial system. And then obviously, and that is something that we still have to work with Facebook, is messaging platforms or the Facebook pages are very powerful means for that merchant to reach more consumers as well. And so once again, it's a first step into what could become a much stronger way to reach consumers.
So how many countries have you launched in, and what are your plans for the next year or so?
So we are starting right now in Nigeria. So that is with two acquirers, Zenith and EcoBank. We'll put this out, and we plan to rapidly expand in other areas, and mainly the African region. These things you need to kind of learn how it works and optimize the solution. So we'll country by country, we'll expand the solution as we see the results.
And is the product scalable to other social media platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. So the QR code itself is an interoperable code that works for Mastercard, works for other card schemes as well. the means of integration that we're doing with Facebook Messenger could be done in very similar ways with a WhatsApp, which is also part of Facebook, or other social messages. And clearly that's where we see that a very momentous first step to what could become the norm in a couple of quarters.
Okay, Jorn, thank you very much for that. Thank you for watching.